Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Amersfoort World Jazz Festival broadcast. I'm here with our esteemed guests, Alyssa and Brett. How you guys doing?
We're doing great.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm tired.
Yeah.
It's been a long festival already.
Sure. Yeah.
We're still on Central Time, so we're like, what time would it be? 7 a.m.? 6 a.m.?
8 a.m. somewhere in there.
Early,
Yeah.
early.
A glass of wine at 8 a.m. in the morning.
That's right. It feels great.
It's a jazz festival.
It is.
Yeah. So I don't need to ask who brought you here, huh? Because there's a lady named Deborah that's brought a lot of people. Is she like the
She's-
official ambassador or something?
She
I
should
think
be.
she is.
Yes.
Yeah.
What happened? Yeah.
Well, so Deborah has guested with the orchestra that I run, the Kansas City Jazz Orchestra, the big band ensemble, professional ensemble. We do concerts throughout the year, and we do a lot of educational events throughout the year. Deborah played with us in May on a concert with Bobby Watson, and she's played with us many times in the past. But this year, in preparation for the concert, she was telling me about the Jazz Festival here. And she was saying that it would be a really great opportunity to network and to talk about jazz orchestra and learn from some other folks from around the world. And so she was able to get us invited to the festival, and now we're here.
Yeah. And there's going to be a recording of that.
There's going to be a recording of that concert,
Yeah.
yes, a video recording of that concert.
Very
So,
cool.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so Kansas City Jazz Orchestra, youth jazz
Yes,
orchestra?
it is a professional jazz orchestra.
Okay,
Yeah,
but very professional.
they are. Well, yeah, I mean, for jazz musicians, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
We can deal with that one later.
Uh-huh.
Because
Yep.
apparently she's just
I felt that one.
Yeah, she's quite highly strung because she's a string player.
Right. Yes.
So
Exactly.
let's get back.
Yes.
What exactly do you do there that you can accept jazz musicians? Go for it.
Well, as you mentioned, I'm a string player. I play the viola,
Yeah.
so I play in a string quartet. And that's what I was doing before I came into my position now as executive director. I just started at the end of January doing that. And before I was on the board of directors for this orchestra, jazz orchestra. But basically, I help all the logistics. I help organize the concerts. I do a lot of fundraising. So we're a nonprofit 501c3 in the United States. So all of our funding comes from donations from grants and individual donors and foundations and sponsorships and all that. So I work on that.
Government money, all private.
No government money.
corporate stuff.
Yep.
You must be quite a good hunter.
I'm working on it.
You have to work on it. That's
Yes,
your job, isn't
it's
it?
a never-ending job. Yeah, so that's what I do with the orchestra. And then we have an artistic director his name is Clint Ashlock, and he is the one who programs the concerts and invites the guest artists and writes the music for the band. All of our concerts have original music, whether arrangements or new songs written by members of the band and the artistic director. So, yeah,
Cool, that was quite a
it's a
mouthful.
lot of fun.
So Brett, this highly strung lady that you brought along, is a string player. You play which instruments again?
I play saxophone as my primary instrument,
Oh,
but
God,
I
there's a lot of
also
saxophones around.
there's so many saxophones.
Why?
Because it's an easy instrument to
But
play.
you also play a lot
I
of
also play the woodwind, so flute, clarinet, and I do a lot of musicals and things like that. In addition
Jazz
to,
or
I do a lot of jazz. Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of my first passion is playing jazz, and but anything that I can do within music that I can get a little money for and enjoy playing. So I like a lot of different genres of music. So.
what draws you to jazz?
I think obviously the creativity of it. Everybody, you can learn a lot about a person by the way that they play. Are they meticulous in their approach? Are they very free? And I think it's really fascinating to hear people that you've just met play an instrument, and then when you get to know them a little better, you say, "Oh, okay, that makes sense. I understand your approach, and I understand kind of where you're coming from." So I think that's kind of fascinating.
And sometimes you think they're a bit schizo.
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes. That's an approach all its own. So yeah.
So in terms of work life, what's the other stuff you do besides being a jazz artist?
So I just recently took on a full-time position at Kansas City, Kansas Community College. I've been there for a long time, just teaching adjunct saxophone lessons. But in the last 2 years, I've taken over the instrumental music department. So we have 2 big bands, multiple combos. We have a funk band, and then we have a really expansive choral program as well. So it's just me and 2 other full-time faculty, John Stafford and Justin Binnick. And so we run that program, and we've won 60 downbeats in the last 6 or 7 years. So 60.
That was before your time.
It was before my time, but I was there last year. Some of it was during my time.
Yeah.
And I was teaching the saxophone players, so I take a little credit for that. But yeah, for being a small program, we really are able to do some really cool things. So
that really is amazing.
Yeah.
And it sounds like, how long are you two married?
We're coming up on 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like things are happening for you guys.
Yeah.
That's really bloody cool.
It's been exciting, yeah.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
So how different is your world from this little world over here with the Amersfoort Jazz Festival, this quaint little jazz festival on the other side of the pond,
Yeah.
this World Jazz Network, where you're looking at it and you're thinking, how big is the world? How small is the network? And then this conference that you attended.
Yeah.
So give us some insights onto those 3. Alyssa.
Well, the town is much different from Kansas City. Let's start with that. So being here, we had never been to the Netherlands before. This is our first time. Just the history.
Hence you buying lots of cheese. Okay.
Yeah, we bought a ton of cheese, pounds of cheese, or
for half of what it would have
grams
cost
and
us at the grocery store.
So I think being here in this environment is inspiring because there's so much history here, and just being able to be kind of encapsulated here is really nice. It is interesting, you said how big is the world and how small is the network, The music world is very small, I feel like, in general, and you learn quickly what the connections are and who you're connected to and all of that, and there's a lot of connections. But here it's been really great because, we've gotten to meet people from different avenues of the business, from the media, and then the festival promotion and festival creators and all of that, which isn't really something that we're doing in our world, but we participate in those in our town. We do have some festivals, but that's not a huge thing in our part of the country for jazz specifically. So it's been interesting to see what else is going on, and it is, could be inspiring to figure out, like, how could we do something like this in our area, which we, being Kansas City, one of the jazz capitals of the world, it's like, it would be great to have something like that.
What's Kansas City a jazz capital?
You want to answer that?
Charlie, obviously,
Because I say so.
one of the biggest claims to fame for Kansas City is obviously Charlie Parker is from Kansas City, Kansas.
Who's that?
Charlie, he played the sousaphone. No, he played the saxophone.
I know.
And so, another saxophone player who we're all copying still to this day.
One of the
That was
originals.
a drop the mic moment, and I led you down the path, so just go ahead.
Yeah.
So that's a big part of the heritage of Kansas City jazz, but also the big band era and Count Basie spending a lot of time in Kansas City, Benny Moten before that. So there's a really rich tradition of big band playing, and we got to participate in an education discussion about how you bring young musicians up, and it was sort of centered on that big band tradition and how you sort of go through the ranks as a big band musician. And it was kind of fascinating to know that a lot of the same struggles, we have some similar obstacles even though we're from different parts of the globe. It's kind of interesting to hear that there's people on the other side of the pond, as they say, that are dealing with similar issues that we are. So
You're not alone.
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, and it's great to put heads together and start to think about those issues and how we can kind of continue post-pandemic, because I think especially for big band music that was a pretty big blow, and we're still sort of recovering and building back up from that.
This whole World Jazz Network came about because Alexander said to me, phone me up in South Africa in 2020. I've been coming for a couple of years, and he said, so Andre, we need to get our friends together. Everyone is sad.
Yeah.
I said, okay, what are we going to do? I said, a Zoom meeting? He says, let's make it bigger than a Zoom meeting. And then he's like, okay, why don't you book a studio? And I book a studio. Okay, I booked a studio. He booked a studio. And we invited people.
Yeah.
And we had 150 people in attendance.
Wow.
From 30 countries.
Wow.
It was opened by Winton Marsalis and the Lincoln Center,
Very
French
nice.
Institute.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, wow. It
Yeah.
made us. There's a major booker in Gail Boyd, and anyway, the who's who of the jazz world attended the conference. I'm like, what the hell just happened?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we started getting the messages from people saying, we felt like we were not alone.
Yeah.
We felt like we were not isolated.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
We felt like we were still part of a community.
Yeah.
And this is from an insignificant South Africa and an insignificant Netherlands. And then the question was, okay, so what are we going to do next?
Yeah.
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 And that's why we established this, I think,
Right.
to like build a sense of a community,
Yeah.
Yeah.
people to talk to,
Mhm.
Yes.
and people to grow and build with.
Absolutely.
So what are we going to grow and build with you?
Well, we would love to keep coming back. We would love to bring as many of our friends as we possibly can.
Amersfoort is smaller, I don't know how many friends.
Yeah,
We've got a lot of friends.
we have a lot of friends. We're going to bring them all.
Yeah, exactly.
But just the hospitality that we've been shown here is really amazing, and not something that I think is very common. So I think we're really encouraged by, it's called a musician's paradise. It certainly feels like a place where we can all be really comfortable. And it wasn't a huge gathering where there's so many people that you're intimidated of all the folks that you have to try to talk to. It was really easy to spark those conversations. And I think you guys did a really good job of facilitating discussions like that.
Mm-hmm.
And, giving people choices of things that they're interested in with other people that are interested in those same things. So I feel like we met almost everyone that was a part of the World Jazz Network conference. And many of them just came up and started talking, so that was really, it was very pleasant and a nice change of pace that you didn't have to say, is do I want to talk to them? Or everybody was very open and free to share ideas with each other.
And Adam was saying earlier that people aren't hustling and selling.
Right.
People are open to talk.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Why did you say that?
I mean, we've been to our big one in the States is the
Jazz
Conference,
Education
Jazz Educators Network, and it's huge. I mean, hundreds of people, like maybe thousands. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a really
and
large
that
festival.
it's kind of feels more like a salesy thing because you gotta get your moment in to talk to so and so because there's so many people and so much going on. So I felt like this felt a little more intimate, and you could really have time to have those conversations.
Quick final question.
Yes.
Besides great music that's going to create earworms in your ears, loads of cheese, what else are you going to take home with you from the World Jazz Network, the World Jazz Festival, Amersfoort Jazz Festival, and what's happened here?
I mean, for me, I think it's an inspiration as far as thinking about these networks and how we can. One of my big things in Kansas City that I work on is community and trying to collaborate and trying to make connections and figure out how us as jazz organizations within the city kind of tend to split off and do our own thing. And it's like, how can we collaborate so that we're not all trying to do the same thing independently? And so I think this vibe here is totally embracing that idea and that this is a collaboration. We're all in this together. We have the same goals, really, a lot of the same goals. And so to me, it's just like reinforcing that. And that's what I'll take with me, I think, the most.
Yeah, I loved what you said about inspiration. I feel like that's one of the things that you always kind of come away with from these kind of festivals is you hear all these different people playing and all their different approaches, and that's always fascinating. I think the other thing is just the connections and sort of the responsibility to continue to follow up and kind of really nurture all those connections that we made and seeing where they can lead. Because a lot of people seem to have very ambitious dreams here, which is fantastic. And so we're hoping to be a part of that going forward.
Did you hear my opening line with Alexander?
Yes, the pinky and the brain.
Exactly.
Where did that come from? That was...
So what are we going to do today?
Yeah.
Take over the world.
Like we do every day.
Yeah.
And I think between Alex and I, and between the guys in Sicily, between the guys in Poland, the guys in Saudi, Australia, we're going to try and make the world a better place.
Yeah.
Not take it over like politicians. So please help us do so.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We'll see what happens with your election. And then we'll have a discussion to see.
I was told this wouldn't come up.
You sound like a politician. We will have a discussion about how we don't build walls,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but break down barriers.
Yeah,
Cool.
sounds good.
I've got 1 minute to get to the South African show.
You better
and
get
I'll be
there.
Getting calls. Are you coming with?
Yeah.
Sure,
Let's
yeah.
do it.
Let's go.